Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Maz and today I'm in Dursley. And in today's video I'll be trying out this Volkswagen Passat B5.5. I've borrowed this Passat from a viewer here in Cam. A quick overview: the Volkswagen Passat is Volkswagen's D segment family saloon. It's been around since 1973 with the B1 and is still being made today. It shares the same chassis code with the Audi A4, so B5 Passat, and there's also a B5 A4. And generally speaking, the Passat has been a midway point between the more mainstream Mondeo and Vectra and the more upmarket 3 Series and C-Class. Also, the name Passat is German for Passat Winter, which means trade wind. And of course, Volkswagen like to name their cars after winds, such as the Polo, the Golf, the Jetta, and so on. Fun fact: this generation Passat also came with a W8 version, which was sort of like a precursor to Volkswagen's well-known W12 engine, seen in the Phaeton and on the Bentley Continental. So coming to the front, this is a B5 Passat, but it's also the B5.5, so it's got the updated front end. The standard B5 came out in '97, but the facelift came from 2001. So the most notable difference with the 0.5 is the grille and of course the headlights. And if you look at the lower bumper, the intakes, it somewhat resembles an Audi, specifically the C5 Audi A6. Back in 2001, this car even came with xenon headlights and of course the iconic Volkswagen emblem. Coming to the side, these wheels are aftermarket. A very simple design, not really much to talk about, very period correct as well with its curvy corners. Volkswagen have been using these door handles for a really long time. Coming to the back, once again the tail lights have these corners cut off as seen on this B5.5, whereas the earlier ones were straight on like this. There's the Passat name, again German for Passat Winter. And this particular car is the 1.8 petrol turbo. And here's what the view looks like from the back. Coming to the boot, a very generous size for this size of car. And due to the nature of it being a saloon, your opening is somewhat limited. Other rivals such as the Mondeo and the Vectra both came with hatchback tailgates as an option. But this is how much space you get, and the space itself is very, very spacious. You even get 60/40 fold down rear seats, and because this is a German car, here is the mandated warning triangle. And of course you got this little grab handle here to close the boot. Coming to the back, here's the door card. This particular car has the cream interior, leather as well, and some wood effect, and even generous by 2001 standards, this chrome door handle and electric windows for the back. Sat inside now, the windows are down because they're so dark, and headroom is lovely. Even the headliner itself feels nice. Legroom is a little limited, but if I sat in my driving position I should be a little bit better off. This particular car has, look at that, a cigarette lighter, and that doesn't look like it's going to open, but I'm sure that's an ashtray to match the lighter. And of course you got seat pockets on the back. This material I quite like. It's this leather effect and fake suede effect, quite generous for a car of this type. Also generous for its type is an armrest. Not all saloons of this period had them. And of course you got cup holders underneath, which isn't shown well on camera. So coming to the business end of the car now. Oh. Now coming to the business end of this car. Look at that. Those red lights are aftermarket. And once again, you got the same cream leather, wood effect. And this was from a time when Volkswagen cars would release their fuel doors from the front. And of course the chrome door handle, which also made its way onto the Mark IV Golf. Coming inside now, and generally speaking I don't think this car has aged too badly at all. It's got the signature Volkswagen Group blue font with red needles, and these red lights here do somewhat remind me of a BMWs of a similar period. In fact, they still do them today. Let me just turn on the lights for now. There we go, it's just getting a bit dark. And, well, obviously you can tell it's left-hand drive because this is a Spanish import. So here's my point of view. Those red lights do look really, really nice. Steering wheel is a bit worn, but it's not a deal breaker. I think this era of Volkswagen has aged very well. I do get the sense that the quality of this car is similar to those of the Bavarians. These two center console vents, very E46-ish, and watch this, you can close them like that. Maybe not so much on the Passat, but in the Golf of this period, the center console would tilt towards the driver. Once again, the two-tone matches into the doors. This one's a 5-speed manual. Normally Volkswagen have their reverse over here. And of course this was a time when ashtrays were a thing. The stereo is currently not fitted in. And look at this, heated seats. And it's a 5-stage heated seat system as well. And there's your great big rear window demister. And that's a blank switch. And down here are your HVAC controls, which Volkswagen call Climatronic. However, it is only a single zone climate control. And of course the gear selector is very short and very smooth. The center console armrest is very thickly padded. It does feel very nice and yielding. And Volkswagen have tucked the handbrake right underneath. Underneath the armrest is a very tiny storage cubby. Also, you can extend the armrest if you want. So that's one stage, and if I give it a pull, there we go, that's another. Looking above me, you do get some dampened grab handles. Here are your sun visors with a light that illuminates. Same with the passenger. Let's just close that for now. And of course, the headliner is in a very nice material. And the rear view mirror is self-dimming. And one last thing, of course this left-hand drive car has metric speedos. So 30 miles per hour would be about 50 kph, 50 would be about 80, and 70 would be about 112. So that's the exterior and interior done now, so let's see what this car is like to drive. That was just the turbo gauge making the sound. So, into first. And off we go. First time driving a left-hand drive car. Visibility, generally speaking, is very good. Luckily I can see that curb right next to me. Biting point is very, very high in this particular car. It's a 30 zone. Speedo is in metric, so that'll be about 50 kph. There we go. And interestingly, in these Volkswagen Group cars, 30 and 50 kph are marked in red. Of course, being sat this side of the car, it's hard to see where that side of the car is. So let's turn left into Dursley. Rear 3/4 visibility is very, very good. Again, biting point just feels a bit too high in this particular car, but I'm sure you'll get used to it eventually. And being a petrol, it does have a lot of grunt, but obviously most of these Passats, here in Britain at least, were the 1.8 TDIs with the PED engine. Overall, the ride is very, very smooth. It's very easy to relax in. Obviously it would be a little bit more relaxing with an automatic, but that's just the nature of a manual. And luckily you do get a great big footrest for your left foot, though I'm sure in right-hand drive cars it would be a bit smaller due to the transmission tunnel getting in the way. And of course this armrest is very, very soft and yielding. So turn right on the roundabout. Yeah, I can still see clearly. Bit of an uphill struggle, so change down to second. Makes a really nice noise. Yep, so neighborhood driving this car is very nice to drive. You do feel the bumps, but they're not major. Yeah, so not the biggest problem for me. And even though this is my first time driving a left-hand drive car, I don't feel disorientated at all with the gear selector. I know that is the case for some people, but not for me. One notable benefit with this configuration is near side parallel parking, so the curb is right up against you visually. And here we come to a red light. Yeah, brakes are very smooth, they're not very grabby, very easy to set off from that red light. And now we're in Dursley town centre. So let's see how it does in town centre driving. Turn right. Visibility, generally speaking, is very good. That A-pillar isn't too thick, and rearward visibility is okay. So most of Dursley's town is in that pedestrian zone, so in terms of town driving it's not really easy to judge. Interestingly, it's very windy today here in Britain, and the Passat name is wind derived. What's the U-turn, what's the turning circle like? Yep, like a breeze. The indicator tick sounds very, very nice. Slow down. We go smoothly up the speed bump and smoothly down it as well. Okay, one last thing to check before I head back is what it's like on the national speed limit road. So, about to leave Cam and make my way onto the A road. Even in top gear it still feels very, very nice. I'm currently doing the national speed limit, and the engine is only revving at just over 2,000 revs. so it's very relaxing despite being a 5-speeder. Though on motorways it might be a bit noisy, and yeah, tyre roar is a bit on the loud side here. So here we come to a roundabout. Let's turn right. About to fall off the seat. It's a very sharp turn, and off we go. The acceleration is really, really good. And we just got into another village. Doing 40 at 5th gear, and the car is only revving at 1500 revs. And we're about to enter the national speed limit, so change down. Picks up well on the incline, and there's 5th. Okay, it is a bit noisy on the national speed limit road. That's just the nature of these 5-speeders. At least it's not quite 3000 revs. Quite a lot of them do exceed 3000 on the national speed limit. But yes, five gears doing national speed limit at 2500 revs. That's not too bad. And luckily these mirrors are very, very good, so I can still see that I'm not crossing over the line, which can be a bit of an issue for left-hand drive cars. There we go. And turn. So let's see what it's like as a 3-pointer. Of course this car has no reversing camera, so reverse and trust myself with these mirrors. Rearward visibility, the headrests do get a little bit in the way, but not by much. Luckily it's empty here, so let's make our way over and finalize this video. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me try out this Volkswagen Passat. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you are new, ring the bell to stay up to speed, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.